In this video, I'm going to teach you how to install GA4 or Google Analytics 4 on Shopify using the Google Sales Channel app. Now, this is something that previously was not available. This feature has just been rolled out recently. Before, you had to have a more complex setup, and I actually filmed a video on how to do that. However, this is the more improved and this is the quicker way of doing things, which is now what I would recommend to get GA4 set up on Shopify. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is head over to Shopify, and we're just going to check to make sure that there's no scripts that are installed which are going to conflict with this new setup. So what I mean by this is if you set up your Google Analytics 4 or other properties very similar to how I detailed in my last video on setting up Google Analytics 4 with Shopify, we actually need to remove that integration because we're going to do it a different way. So first of all, you want to go to settings over here, and you want to scroll down to checkout, and you want to scroll down and you want to see if you have any additional scripts. Okay, now I have a data layer, and I also have data layer script, and I also have the Google Tag Manager script. So I'm actually just going to remove that because we don't need that now for Google Analytics 4 to be installed. And the other place where we're going to check is going to be in the online store, themes, and we're just going to click these three buttons here. I'm going to click edit code, because in the last video I installed Tag Manager, which obviously houses Google Analytics 4 directly on the theme itself. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to go to the theme liquid file, and you can see I installed this script and I also installed the Google Tag Manager code. So I'm just going to remove that and save it. Now, what I would recommend doing is copying any of the codes that you do find in these sections into a separate document so you have them for reference in case you need them. Obviously, you don't just want to remove every single piece of code. I'm going to leave this up to you to decide which ones you should and should not remove, depending on what code is actually there. But if you followed the tutorial that I put out previously, you can essentially go and remove that code because we're going to do it a slightly different way going forward. So let's get into the setup. First things first, we need to have a few things in place. So if you don't have a Google Analytics 4 account, you need to head over to analytics.google.com, sign in with your Google account, and or create a new Google account if you don't have one. And you're just going to create a Google Analytics 4 account. So I already have one here. I've called it Shopify GA4. That's the one I'm going to be using. So you need to make sure that that is in place. And then we also need to obviously make sure you've got your Shopify store, and we need to install the Google Sales Channel. So head over to Sales Channels. I'm going to type in Google, and you can see here we've got the Google channel. So I'm just going to click that. It's going to load it up here, Google channel. I'm going to click Add App, and now it's going to install it. And I'm going to click Add Sales Channel. So once you've installed the Google Sales Channel app, you're going to want to click Connect, or in my case, click Reconnect, because I actually had this installed before. And you're just going to want to sign in with whichever Google account that you have used to set up your Google Analytics 4 property. So it has to be the same Google account. Now, when you get here, it's going to give you a few different options. So you can actually start adding your products to the Google Merchant Center, which will relate to running like shopping ads or having the free listings. There's a few other things you can do. Today, we're just going to look at the GA4. So you've got this at the top, looking for Google Analytics 4. I'm going to click Get Started. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me a few options. So I'm connected with my Google account, and here I can actually choose one of the properties that exists. So I'm going to choose one of my GA4 properties. For me, I'm going to choose Shopify GA4, which is the one that I referenced that I'd set up for this. If you don't have one, you can click Create New, and it's going to prompt you to set up a Google Analytics 4 account. So I'm just going to click Connect. And now you can see that it's set up, and it's actually that simple. So now the final step is for us just to test and make sure that this is working correctly. Okay, so to test this, you're going to want to go to tagassistant.google.com, and you're going to want to click on Add Domain and just paste in the domain of your Shopify store and click Connect. And that's going to load up in a new tab, and you're going to see Tag Assistant connected down here. And if you go back to the Tag Assistant tab, it's going to show you here that the property is connected. Okay, so you've got your summary, and it's going to show you what has and hasn't been sent. So let's navigate through the site and start interacting with it as if we're going to purchase the product, because that is going to start triggering the e-commerce event. So I'm going to click Add to Cart on my test product. I'm going to click Checkout. From here, I'm just going to enter some of my details. I'm just going to complete the purchase. This is a free product that I've set up just for testing purposes. So now that says it's done and we've completed the purchase. So now if I go back to Tag Manager, there's a few things we can see. So over here, we've got our GA4 property. Now we can see the page view as fired. We can see the purchase event as fired. If you click on this stuff, you can actually see more information about it as well, which is pretty cool. So it's going to give you a little bit more details there in terms of what has and hasn't fired, especially if you click on the data layer. You've then got your different events down here on the left. So I can look at the purchase event, which fired, and I can actually see what has fired. So test product number 1, I can see the quantity, I can see the price, I can see the brand. All of that information is getting pushed through, and this is what's going to get sent to GA4. Okay, so you can see all of this stuff. We've got add payment info, we've got begin checkouts, we've got add to cart, we've got all of the events that we would need to have, and they've all fired correctly. So it shows it's working. Now, I'm just going to show you this directly in GA4 as well. So if I head over to Google Analytics 4, the events aren't going to come in real time in terms of reporting. There's typically a delay by up to 24 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click admin. And then what I'm going to do is scroll down and click debug view, and that is going to show me in real time what has recently happened. So here you can see we've got the purchase event, and this is directly in Google Analytics 4, and I can see the different information pieces here. So if I click on purchase, we've got the different user properties, items I can see here. So again, I can see test product 1, brand, price, all of that good stuff. So this is coming in directly into GA4. We've got the add payment, we've got the begin checkout, we've got all of the events that add to cart, etc. They've all come into GA4 correctly. So this indicates that the setup is now complete. So that's a really simple way of setting up Google Analytics 4 with your Shopify store. If you're interested to learn more about how me and my agency can help scale your business, we run performance marketing campaigns for Shopify stores, any type of e-commerce brand. There's a link in the description where you can book a call with me, have a free, no obligation chat. We can see if what we offer is the right fit for you. If it is, we can work together. And if it's not, then we'll just try and provide as much value as possible during that free conversation that we're gonna have together. So drop any comments as well below, and I'll get back to you in terms of any questions you have related to GA4, Shopify, or anything else that I can bring value to. And with that said, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.